Good evening. Yeah, welcome to today's JAMB Review class. I'm very excited, very excited to have every one of you here. And though we are a little behind schedule, but we are still in line. So we are going to be looking at two subjects today, just according to the class schedule. So I'm going to be using a mixture of both my voice note, using my voice as voice note, and then using text. So the main thing I will just use the text to do is just to note down key points, but more of the explanations I will be doing will be through voice. But before we begin, we need to address something very important. Before we begin the class proper, I want you to understand some very few and tangent points that we need to understand. Let me make this very clear. JAMB is a CBT exam, not a theory exam. So that means the preparation you are going to use for JAMB is not the same that you have been using for preparation for your school exams, or maybe when you want to write WAHEC. So you need to get that clear. For JAM, what matters more than anything is speed. There are many people that scored below 200 in last exam, and it's not like maybe if they had all the time in this world, they will even score 400 over 400. But what JAM is concerned about is that they give you 180 questions, you have the 2 hours window to, trash the question. So, however, whatever it is, is not JAM's business. So, and many mistakes that most students make is they guess their way or through. So, because they are in that tension mode, they don't know what to do, they don't know what to pick. So, I want to believe that a whole lot of people that didn't do well last year JAM, they were not all dull. So if you have watched the video I posted in the group, you understand that very clearly. So, and one of the amazing things that is very important is that your speed matters, your accuracy matters, your speed also matters. Familiarity with CBT questions also matters. So if you read everything, but you don't practice answering questions on a screen, you are not fully prepared. So it's not about you having big textbook and reading all of that and all of that. It is about you getting familiar with CBT test questions and then seeing how well you can actually, answer as much correct answer within a very short time. Now, another very important thing that students miss, I'm going to say that in the next voice note. Okay, having talked about that, another important thing that students miss is the JAM syllabus. I know a lot of you will be like, JAM syllabus, I mean, what's the purpose of that? What do I want to use that one for? Well, the JAM syllabus is your exam guide. It's actually not just a document, it's actually your exam guide. So JAM will not set questions outside the syllabus. And what we are going to be doing tonight, some of the little topics that we are going to be treating in English and the one we are going to be checking in chemistry, I'm going to be showing you what the syllabus requires of you to know about that particular topic. And then we are going to have some CBT practice questions. So more of what we'll be doing will be topic and CBT centered. So I'll treat a topic and then we trash it using CBT. So you too, you follow along. Some of the CBT questions that you are going to be seeing posted here as picture. It's not going to be view once like the one we did last time. You can also try from your own side and be noting what you think the probable answer will be. So at the end of the day, when the answers are reviewed, you see where you are also and see how well you are prepared for what is ahead. So the JAM syllabus is not just a document, it is your exam guide. JAM will not set questions outside the syllabus. Get that. That point is very important. So anything you are reading that is not connected to the syllabus is actually a waste of time. So, you may want to get a big textbook, maybe for those that are in the sciences, you are reading physics, the new school physics, the new school chemistry, or the modern biology or essential biology. And you need to realize that it is not everything that is written inside that textbook that JAM will ask you about. So you need to know what JAM really wants you to understand regarding that particular subject matter. So we are not to read plenty notes. We are here to understand concepts and answer questions correctly. That's the purpose of this class. So I'm going to address the next point, which is very crucial before we begin the class in the next voice note. All right, so now let me address the mindset. I know I told you to put your target score, and there's something I wrote there. I said, really mean this. Now, who is the person that has the biggest JAMB score, the highest JAMB score in this, the JAMB of this year, JAMB 2026? Who is the highest scorer? Well, nobody knows yet. So, which means that wherever the highest scorer is in JAMB is preparing right now and doing all it takes to make sure that he backs that score or she backs that score. So that's the point I'm trying to make is that nobody scores 300 plus in JAMB without knowing that he's going to score something like that. When I was listening to a video of that was made by the guy who scored the highest JAMB score last year, and one of the certain things that he said was that he knew that he was going to score that high, because from the CBT practice he has been doing, he was getting already something 300, 300 plus, 300 plus, 300 plus. Some of you have been doing CBT practice and you have been scoring 100 plus, 100 plus. That is already a prophecy of what you may likely get if you don't buckle up. So he made a point. He said what he scored was the average of the scores that he has been getting in his CBT. So when I ask you to talk about your target score, I didn't just want you to post something. I'm seeing a lot of people posting 270, 250, 300 plus, 370. No, don't talk, don't write because you want to talk. Really mean what you are actually talking about. So whether your target is 180, 200, 250, of course, I don't believe there's anybody here that will have a target of 180, God forbid, at least for what is what, 300 plus. What matters is that you attack your preparation seriously with the right psychology. So JAMB is not about luck, it's about strategy and practice. It is about what? Strategy and practice. So when you aim high, then the way you also prepare will also be high. People will even be wondering and be like, is it not this just JAMB exam that I want to do? No, for you, it's something, it means more, because you want to make sure that you secure a high score, that it will be so impossible for any university not to accept you. So it's not a matter of you saying that maybe if I will score 180 at least, maybe is there any university that can take me? No, that's not your target. Your target is high. So your preparation too must be what? High. So that is all that I need to put in place before we begin the class proper. So we are going to begin the class proper right now. So let's review one by one what is posted here in this image, so you get clearly what JAMB actually requires of you as far as the English syllabus is concerned. This is just a little synopsis based on what I want to focus on tonight. All right, so based on what is here, you can see clearly what JAMB requires. So the aim of the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME, 2026 syllabus in use of English is to guide the candidate in their preparation for the board examination. It is designed to evaluate the candidate's ability to communicate effectively in both written and spoken English, and use the English language for learning at the tertiary level. So the syllabus consists of 3 sessions. So the first session you can see there is the comprehension and summary. The second session is the lessons and structure. And then the third session is the oral forms. Now, under the structure, let's quickly skip to the structure of the exam. So in the structure of the exam, you can see clearly that you have, first of all, one comprehension passage, 5 questions, one close passage, that is also 10 questions. Now, close passage, we are going to be looking at that this night. And then a reading test, that's Lekki Headmaster, like the one they did last year. So I think that's still the test they are reading this particular year also. And then you have the lessons and structure. So that under that, you have the sentence interpretation, 5 questions, antonyms and synonyms, 5 questions, sentence completion, and all of that. So what we are looking at this night, our focus this night is mainly on the close passage, that's the CLOZE, and the antonyms and synonyms. So I have prepared some questions that we would use to study along. So just like I said, get your writing materials. As the questions are displayed on your screen, try and answer it from your side and score yourself, because as we are going on, I will post it first and I will ask you to select your probable answer, and then you are not to send it to me, of course. You are not sending anything to me. So it is just for the purpose of evaluating yourself, Joe. So it's going to be a kind of like a collaborative study. So we are in this together. So now let's get on with the antonyms and then the synonyms. But before I get on with that, you see one particular point that is stated here. It said they want to test the ability of the candidate to be able to communicate effectively in both written and spoken English. So which means that you have to do a good job in intentionally helping yourself with valuable materials. Watch movies that they are speaking good and correct English. Also read novels. One of the amazing things that the guy that scored the highest score in JAMB last year said is that he intentionally familiarized himself with reading a lot of things, like reading articles in newspapers, reading novels, maybe short novels that they are putting a lot of good English and good grammar. What all of that does to you is that it helps you understand the right nuances when it comes to spoken English and written English. So you may want to help yourself with that, because if you don't do that, it will show up in your performance when you eventually sit for the exam. So that is one warning that you should take very seriously. So let's begin. So what do you think is the probable answer for this particular question? So from what you can see here, it says you should substitute for the underlined word in the following sentences, the word that most closely expresses the opposite meaning. So the plaintiff made very cogent submissions to the trial judge. So you have the options there. You have the bailiff, you have the prosecutor, you have the lawyer, you have the defendant, and then you have the accused. So what do you think is the probable answer? I'm sure you have taking your suggestions already. Now, let's try and break down the meaning of some of these words one by one, so that you get the flow of what can actually be the correct answer or the wrong answer. So the first option says bailiff. So who is a bailiff, first of all? So that's a court officer who maintains order, not a party to the dispute. So remember what they said here. You are looking at opposite in meaning. So the plaintiff made very cogent submission to the trial judge. So you are looking for something that is opposite to that. So let's define what a plaintiff is, first of all. So who is a plaintiff? A plaintiff is actually the party who brings a legal action or suit in a court, the person or entity that initiates a civil case. So that's what we call a plaintiff, the party who brings a legal action or suit in a court, the person or entity that initiates a civil case. So that is somewhat more like an accuser, somebody that accuses somebody in the court. And what do you think would be an opposite? If there's an accuser, there should be a what? There should be a defendant. So the answer there is actually option D, which is defendant. So let's move on. All right, so a quick one. Just make sure that as we go on, you score yourself. I'll be interested in knowing your score when I open the group after now for before we begin English. So I would like to know how well you did. So make sure you are honest in scoring yourself. You remember that you are not deceiving anybody. It's yourself you are deceiving. So okay, the second question here says that you should choose the option which is nearest the meaning. So I can walk that distance, and I've done so many times. So from here, of course, I already know what you're already guessing. You've noted down what the answer will be. So from this particular sentence, you can see that the speaker is capable of walking a distance and has done it frequently. So it is not a question of the speaker cannot walk. He has the ability to walk, and he has also done it many times. So what are the possible options? I am used to walk that distance. No, I used to walk that distance. So it's not talking about maybe something that happened in the past. It's talking about something that he can still do. I can walk that distance. So that is present tense. I used to walking that distance. That's not correct. Then you also have option D. I am used to walking that distance. Now, one amazing thing about this option D is that whenever you use the to, it must go with an ing. It must go with a gerundive verb, which has an ing. So I am used to walking that distance. Looks more appropriate. But let's look at option E. I will walk that distance. So no, it's not talking about maybe it's something that he would do in the future. It's talking about something that he has always done and has the capacity to still do. So I think option D is the most appropriate in this case. I am used to walking that distance. Okay, now for the next question, you have there that for all he cared, his parents might have been dead for years. For all he cared, his parents might have been dead for years. So you have the first thing you need to understand there is that for all he cared, that phrase for all he cared means he is indifferent towards the situation. So implying that he had no concern about whether his parents were alive or not. So we will now need to see which option flows along with this. For all he cared means what? He is indifferent. So let's look at an option that says that. So option A says, although concerned about his parent, he had been unable to find. No, that's not what he's looking for. Option B says he cared for no one except it. No, that's not true. He did not care whether his parents were alive or had died long before. Yes, that's the most probable answer. He was concerned about everyone, not just his parents who might have died. No, that's not it. He cared very much for his parents, even though they were dead. The answer there is he did not care whether his parents were alive or had died long before. That's the probable answer. So let me move on. Now for option number 4, had she asked me earlier, I might have been able to employ him. Now, what you are asked to do here is you should choose the option that is nearest in meaning to the underlying statement. As he asked me earlier, I might have been able to employ him. So you need to understand the phrase first. So the original sentence implies that the speaker did not employ him because the request came too late. Now, the request came too late from who? From A. So there are two things here. You may be deceived to thinking that it is making reference to employing no, it is talking about employing him. So what this really means is that if the request came more earlier, he would have been able to employ him. So the bottom line there is that he did not employ him. So let's look at the option that goes along with that. I employed her. No, I did not employ him. That is the most close and correct answer. All right, number 5. As he was a gullible leader, his followers looked and took advantage of him as he was a gullible leader. So you need to help understand what gullible means. So when you say gullible, what does it really mean? So someone is said to be gullible when they can be easily persuaded to believe something or easily fooled. So that's the meaning of gullible. It means when somebody can be easily persuaded to believe something or easily fooled. So what are the probable synonyms of such word? You have credulous, over trusting, over trustful, trustful, easily deceived or led, easily taken in, exploitable, dupable, deceivable, impressionable, unsuspecting, unsuspicious. So this means that a gullible person is actually can be easily deceived. So now let's look at the possible option that aligns with that. He was weak and unable to enforce his authority. No, gullibility has nothing to do with strength. It has nothing to do with weakness. Somebody can be strong, can have strength, but yet be gullible. So that has nothing to do with strength. It was partial and unfair in dispersing justice. No, it has nothing to do with that. It was simple-minded to a fault. Simple-minded to a fault means that somebody that is naive, that can be easily controlled. So that could be our answer. It was slow to heart. No, it was lacking in education and experience in everyday affair. That's not it. So the closest answer is option C, which is it was simple-minded to a fault. Okay, for number 6, opposite in meaning. The long straight trunk of the tree is ideal for round wood. So underlined ideal. Round wood used like railway sleepers, rafters, and fence posts. So we need to understand first the meaning of ideal. So when we say something is ideal, what does it mean? It means something that is perfect, most suitable for a purpose. So if something is perfect and most suitable for a purpose, what do you think we be closer to it? Let's look at the options. Best, that's still a synonyms. Perfect, that's still a synonym. Most unsuitable, that looks very closer to our answer. Satisfactory, that's still very close. And then you have poor, that's even out of line. So the answer there is option C, which is most unsuitable. Right. So number 7 now. Number 7 says the chief was generous in his award of university scholarships. So the word there is generous. So when you say something is generous, when you say someone is generous, what does it mean? It means that the person is kind, giving, or willing to share resources freely. So the opposite is someone that is stingy or unwilling to give. So let's look at the options that is close to that. Nobel. When you say Nobel, Nobel is actually like a Nobel laureate. This is something that you give to someone based on an outstanding performance. So that's not closer to the answer we are looking at. Considerate. Considerate means someone that has concern for people, that considers people. That can be a synonym for generous, but not definitely an antonym or something that is opposite in meaning. Libra, somebody that gives freely, of course, is not the same. Mean, that's somebody that is wicked. So that's closer to our answer. Honest, no, that's out of line. So our answer is option D, which is mean. So now for number 8 now, it says you should choose the option that is opposite in meaning. So now here we have, to most people, last Christmas was an austere period. Last Christmas was an austere period. So austere here means strict, harsh, or lacking in comfort and luxury. So it is associated with hardship or minimalism, especially due to economic difficulty. So we need a word that is opposite in meaning, something that is suggesting comfort, wealth, or abundance. So that is exactly what will be closer to our answer here. So let's look at the option. You have prosperous, of course. Prosperous looks very closer to our answer. So because when you say something is prosperous, it means it's wealthy, successful, is thriving, especially in financial terms. Ash, that's a very difficult condition. That's more closer to austere. That's a synonym. Severe, still closer to austere, which is synonym. Then you have sour, still closer, because when you say something is sour, it means it's bitter, it's not sweet. So still closer to our word that is underlined there. Then stern there means something that is firm, something that is rigid. So that is even that's not closer to our answer. So our answer here is option A, which is prosperous. Yeah. All right. So this is our last question for today. In the question below, choose the option opposite in meaning to the word underlined. So the military governor upheld the decision of his cabinet. The military governor upheld. So when you say upheld there, upheld actually means to support, maintain, or confirm a decision or action. So to support, maintain, or confirm a decision or action. So the opposite of uphold would be to overturn, to cancel, or to reverse the decision. So what are some of the things that look closer to our option? We have held up. Held up is still closer to upheld. Undercut, that's not even close. Maintained, yes. So maintained can still be a little closer to upheld. But what we are looking for here is the opposite in meaning. Then you have abolished. Abolished means that we will remove something finally, like the existence of something, and then reversed. Reversed is much more closer, even though abolished can possibly have been our answer, but it expresses something more deeper. But reversed is closer. It's closer. So it's talking about a particular decision, a particular stance. But when you're talking about abolished, the entire whole thing is destroyed. So that's out of line. So our answer here is option E. All right, so we have come now to the end of our class tonight. I'm sure a lot of you have been busy so far, and you see here now that some of the words that have been talked about here are something that many of you probably may have been familiar with. Some you may not have seen it before. But the key thing here is that one easier and better way for you to scale through in use of English is to be intentionally accustom yourself with watching movies, what high-rated movies that they are speaking big grammar, big English, and pick your dictionary as by your side. Let your dictionary be your one singular friend all through this period, so that any new words you are learning, you can actually be noting it down. There's an amazing app that I will recommend. I don't know if any of you here has it. That's Merriam-Webster. One amazing thing about the Merriam-Webster app is that you can, when you check the meaning of a particular word, you can see the synonyms of that particular word there. And much more than that, there's something that is also done in that app, games, where you learn a new word every day. So imagine if you are learning a new word right starting from now till that April when you begin your JAMB distance. See how many words would you have learned? There are chances that some of the words that you will learn all through that period may just be a word that is closer to what JAMB will bring forward. So the key thing is to make sure that you prepare yourself adequately for whatever it is that happens. So let me know if you enjoyed this class. Let me know.